Y'all, this is one I had to come back and talk about because I really want to pose the question to you. If you watched The Perfect Neighbor, do you feel like justice was served?
Get it, don't be timid when you ain't it, apply that. Love a bone, give along, leave it. I don't want no trip, baby, stay like it.
My name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related, and I am here to put you on, okay? Y'all, welcome back to the channel. I had to come and talk about this one. This one is so important. And I know there's been a lot of buzz on social media around it and that this is just Black trauma, corn, all of those things, and don't watch it. And I would challenge you to watch it because I think it's an important story that needed to be told. And we needed to see something with a conclusion, right? Where someone finally is held accountable for these heinous acts. But y'all, let's get into it. So The Perfect Neighbor premiered on Netflix yesterday. It's about an hour and a half runtime documentary all about the living of Ajike AJ Chantrell Owens, a 35-year-old mother of four who was taken away from her children by a Karen. Right? Susan Lawrence. And as we go through this documentary, it's very non-conventional, right? It's shot in the perspective of Ring doorbells, of police body cam, all really third-party recording devices are used in this. But there's more to the story. So Geeta Gambier is the creator and director of this film. She involved in this project because Ajike was close friends with two of her husbands, kind of 6 degrees of separation here, but still feeling it. And Geeta saying, I want to do something for the family, but all I know how to do is make films. So with the help of Ajike's cousin and mother, they set out on this quest to figure it all out. Geeta collects all of the video, right, from the police department, from the Ring doorbells, everywhere she can find anyone who has any information on what happened. And she starts the process of piecing it all together. And of course, then we get this documentary. So as it opens up, we're going through a history of craziness, right? In this Ocala, Florida neighborhood where the kids just want to play. I didn't even know kids played outside anymore, y'all. Every time I see babies, they are on their tablets in the house put up. But these babies are playing football. They're playing tag. They're doing all of the things that you would want to see kids doing that is age appropriate, right? You see them having a good time, and you get Susan over here, who I don't know if the hoe was renting her place or if, she officially owned it. I think she had a landlord, right? But she was so worried about this property and saying it was her property and the kids can't play over here. Mind you, her property line was just this big. There's a whole vast field. No one else had a problem with these babies playing, living their best lives. And of course, now we're getting into altercations. She's calling the police every other day about these babies. Ajike had to go over there, rip the sign up and be like, ho, what are you doing? Leave these babies alone. They're just having a good time. She done accused Ajike of throwing the sign at her. And we actually get to see footage of Ajike having the conversation with the police. At this point, the police are even pissed off at Susan because Susan, they're kids. What do you want them to do? This is not your property. You cannot police it. Let these babies have a good time. And so over time, it builds until finally we get to a point where the babies are saying she pulled out a blicky. And people are like, what? And this is what I feel when I feel like the police should have gotten involved. I honestly feel like there should have been some recourse for her calling 911 all these times without it, in fact, being an emergency, but her just griping. And so she brandishes the weapon before, and I think the little boys had seen it. And then we get to kind of the day where everything went crazy, June 2nd, 2023. And so the baby is over there. He left his tablet. He forgot his tablet. She throws a skate at him. She's calling him little N-words, little just jack A, just everything you can say and why you're engaging with a kid. And he says, I'm going to get my mommy to come over here and get my tablet. Tell your mama to come over here. Really? Okay. And so mom comes over there. She says that she's banging on the door. Susan calls the police. She's banging on my door and I'm in fear for my life. As soon as I heard that lady say, I'm in fear for my life. I knew exactly where we were going. We were going stand your ground. This is in Florida, the home of Zimmerman. We know what happened with that. I'm in fear for my life, blah, blah, blah. 2 minutes later, she shoots through a closed door and shoots a GK, right? Mind you, there could have been children out there. Everybody's outside. She's there with her boys, with her babies. Her oldest son, GK's oldest son, tries to administer CPR, but he doesn't know how. The baby son who was there with his tablet, he's running, trying to get help. Call somebody, call. They helped. And mind you, we're hearing this as it's going on, and they're like, no, call the police, get the police here. Mind you, she's already called the police. She called them again 2 minutes later and crying hysterically, I was in fear for my life, and I shot through the door, and I don't know, blah, blah, blah. The police get there, and the way that they were so delicate, that was probably the most infuriating thing outside of the main event of her taking the life of this mother, was the fact that she was handled with kid gloves. Cause slam that hoe. Slam her, because who do you think you are? What do you think you're doing, right? And so we get all of that footage, and of course, it's so traumatizing. This part is. It is. But again, I think it's important to see how we can learn from it and how we can navigate spaces with these unhinged people. Because I hate to say it, but this happens, I feel like, more times than we think it does. Also, I think this needs to be watched to support the family. If I can find the GoFundMe for the children, I will drop it in the description, because they need all the help that they can get, at this point without their mother. And so after that, she shot, they kind of detain her. They say, we're not arresting you. We're detaining you, Susan. They go, and the babies are hysterical. The oldest son says, I blame myself because I didn't know how to do CPR. I couldn't do anything to help. The baby boy says, if I just wouldn't have brought my tablet over, this never would have happened. It's my fault. At one point we asked one of the sons, are you hurt? Is everything okay? I'm not hurt. I'm just heartbroken. Y'all. The tears came, and you're seeing this in real time. And so the police that are on site are like, let's call the father. The father comes, and, he's trying to comfort the kids, and, hey, we're going to just pray, and, we're going to figure this out. A couple moments later, the police have to tell the father that a GK has passed away. And so now he's got to break the news to the babies. And they do show this on the documentary, and it was raw and it was real. But I know why they had to do it. I think until people see the reality of these things on both sides, we won't see change in that area at all. And so we're seeing that they're heartbroken. And then afterwards, we kind of get to see the preparations for the funeral. And mind you, days have passed and Susan still isn't arrested. The sheriff makes a vow to the family that they're going to get justice and all of these things, and we have to figure it out. So later we do get to see the interrogation of Susan, and basically the hoe went on Facebook to figure out about stand your ground. She got her little dialogue ready, and she called them people with intention. In my mind, this was premeditated capital murder. In my opinion, that's what it was. But of course, they actually end up charging her with manslaughter. And now, she even refuses to be arrested. She's like, no, you're not gonna take me back there. They say, yeah, we are. We bring in Top Cop, and he's like, you can do this the easy way or the hard way. I said, do it the hard way. Do it the hard way. Slam that hoe. You do it to everybody else. Slam her. Finally, they get her in custody, and then at the very, very end, and you have to watch this all the way through to the end to actually find out what happens, but she does stand trial. We have witnesses, we have the police, we have everyone come through, and ultimately, she is given 25 years. The heifer was old anyway, so I'm sure it's tantamount to a life sentence, and I'm fine with that as long as there's no possibility for parole. I think this is one of the times that we actually did get to see some level of justice served in this, but at the end of the day, it'll never replace these babies' mother. They said Ejike was a wonderful mother who sacrificed everything to put her children in private school, to get them gymnastics, to get them in sports and all of the things, and just loved them down bad. And the fact that she'll never get to tuck her babies in again or kiss them goodnight or wake them up for school in the morning, it's heartbreaking, and it didn't have to be that way. I will say one of the most beautiful things that you see in this documentary is community, and you see the neighborhood rally behind her, and to be a support for these babies. It felt like so much love there. And I will say that that was beautiful. Again, if you have not watched it, and you can take it, because I know it does strike home and resonate deeply for some, for all of us, really. And so I understand if you can't, but I would say this is a must-watch documentary. This is probably one of the most poignant documentaries I've watched this year, and y'all know we watch a ton of docs over here. But yeah, give it a chance. Like I said, if I can find the GoFundMe for the babies, I will drop it in the comment section. But you guys let me know. Did you watch The Perfect Neighbor? What did you think about it? Did it resonate at all? Did you feel as though justice was served? I would love to know. And if you haven't already, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all of the things, y'all. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.